I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your 3-minute cattle market update for Friday, March the 31st. And we're getting down to the point here, we're right on the bubble of the market and we know it's about to turn, but who's the boss here on this cattle market? Is it the Ouija board or is it reality? Is it technicals or is it fundamentals? Is it the packers that are sure wanting to buy cattle lower, mostly because their margins are getting tight and they haven't lost any money in over a year and a half, and heaven forbid they'd have to go a week or two with a red bottom line where these cattle feeders just struggle continuously trying to show a profit anywhere they can, and really there's no way for them to do it on a regular basis unless they have some kind of a strategy through hedging, and even then it's really tough because now this board won't even stay true with what the market is when it matures. So we're having a real power struggle here at this juncture here, and we haven't had any trade as of yet to speak of. We've got some weak sisters that's trying to cut the guy's legs out from under them, selling cattle for mid-April delivery at a lower price, which that's always nice when they do that when you're trying to hold the market together. But it's just we're having a big power struggle, and it's going to be interesting to see who blinks and who gives in first. You look at your board here mid to late week, your live cattle futures on the June contract now. Wednesday was up a quarter, Thursday down 97 cents to end the day on Thursday at 110.87. April on Thursday was down $1.35, ending up at $1.20, when our market in the Southern Plains is still $1.30. We haven't established anything different than that. And the market in the Northern Plains mostly $1.34, although they're doing their best to advertise that they're getting a few deals bought cheaper than that and trying to kill the market. It's always interesting. When I used to be a market reporter, when the market was going up, it was a struggle to try to get the packer. Now that they have mandatory price reporting, they have to give up that information, but it was always a struggle back before when we were collecting that voluntarily. When the market was going up, you couldn't get a packer to say anything. When the market was going down, they'd call us and advertise the price because they knew that we would get it out and then it'd be established. But you know, that's a big disparity there, and by the time most of you see this report, will be in April with a board that's $10 to $14 behind what's really going on. Feeder cattle on May, Wednesday was up 162, Thursday down $1.80, so just kind of give and take there. Ending the day on Thursday with May at 130, 142. Your March will be going off the board. March was not a lot of activity in that month anyway. We'll get on to some more important months on the feeder board. But your fats through Thursday afternoon, only 13,000 sold. That includes a couple of thousand there on the Fed Cattle Exchange and some cattle that people were selling for mid-April delivery at a lower price. We had several of those turned in at 126, 127. When you got these guys trying to hold this negotiated market together and try to hold this thing as close to $1.30 as they can, then you got guys doing that to them and giving the packers more captive supply for coming weeks. But it's a bad deal if feedlots could just get their heads together. It's amazing to me. We got Texas Cattle Feeders, we got Kansas, Nebraska Cattlemen's Association, and they do not try to get guys' heads together to trade their cattle. Then we've got these marketing agents like Consolidated Beef. You've got producers of Omaha up north and different outfits like that that's trying to pool cattle together to get more leverage for some of these smaller producers. And why we can't do that as a whole, I have no idea. But they're going to get outsmarted every time when you've got 3 or 4 guys that just kind of look at each other and agree on a certain strategy to trade. They're going to beat the guys every time. And it's always easier to get 4 heads together than it is 400. I don't care what you say. But we've had some trade 126 to 127, mostly all for mid-April delivery. Your steer weighted average on the 13,000 that's sold so far, and those aren't all steers of course, is pretty much steady at 127.70. Your Northern Plains top is at 133 still, And I tell you how tight the numbers are in the northern plains, Nebraska and Iowa and places. They are so short of market-rated cattle right now. They're pulling green cattle that don't even have 120 days on them, and that's even short time nowadays for guys in the southern plains. But northern plains guys always have 150 days plus on their cattle. But they're pulling green cattle, which is great. But if you're not taking advantage of the market when you have it right now, what good does it do you to stay current? But you got your market-ready supply is so tight in the northern plains that Kansas is even trading at a pretty nice premium to what Texas is, just due to freight, because they're having to haul those cattle to those northern plants to get them killed, and it makes a lot of sense there, but you don't see it that often. But your slaughter is still staying up there pretty good through Thursday, 456,000, just 7,000 lower than that big kill they had last week, and 27,000 larger than the same week a year ago. Another big fundamental come in here on Thursday. Your actual dressed weights of steers, 872 pounds, down 9 pounds from the previous reported report. And this 872 is for the week ending March 18th, and you can bet it's going to continue to plummet as they keep pulling those lighter and lighter cattle all the time. But the fundamentals are so strong, you know, the big disparity in the board. How can we let the board tell us that we got to sell cattle cheaper? I don't understand. But you look at your feeder cattle guys, those guys I do understand. When they want cattle, they pay more for them. When they don't want them, they back away from the table. But OKC West there on Wednesday, counting Tuesday and Wednesday at 11,400 head. Feeders are steady to $2 higher, which is really saying something, because we started to turn on the bubble on our feeder cattle too. Wednesday, your real-time index started to turn a little bit cheaper, and OKC West had a great sale a week ago Wednesday, so that was an impressive trend that they had there, steady to $2 higher. Of course, their calves on Tuesday we talked about was steady to $3 higher, and spots as much as 6 on some 6-weight stocker cattle, which are really scarce right now. At Dodge City, Kansas, had around 3,000 Wednesday there. Feeder steers there $2 to $3 lower, and a lot of rain in Dodge City. I mean, it means boggy rain, and as much as they need it all the time, it does kind of shake things up when they get it, because they're not used to having to worry about getting trucks in places and things like that. But market was sure lower, but holding that pretty much steady on the few sales that we see on Thursday there. Early call out of Pratt's, just with feeder steers steady to $1 lower, and feeder heifers maybe $1 to $2 lower. But it'll be interesting to see, and we'll talk about it next week about what happens late Friday on the trade. But that's 3 minutes. We'll talk to you next week.